welcome filmmakers, fans, and friends to Indie Cinema Showcase, your #1 source for filmmaking, conventions, and everything in between. I'm Christina Carmona.
And I'm Nando. Together we'll be bringing you the best and brightest that Florida has to offer with a focus on Central Florida.
In today's episode, we'll be speaking with local filmmaker Adam Lopez and learn about his journey into the filmmaking world.
We will also revisit some of our past events and then travel to the Enzion Theater to hang out with Tim Anderson as he lets us know what films we should see before we die.
All right, let's get things started with our Show Us Your Short segment with the trailer to Adam Lopez's TV pilot called Short Adam.
So, what's on your mind?
I need to make money.
It's all about making money.
Tell them I'll be there ASAP. I have a really good feeling about this.
City is littered with billboards selling the dream.
Any questions? Action.
Take me to Burger King, big guy.
I'm gonna be sad if it wasn't pathetic already.
Listen, I'm gonna have to let you go.
I just found out they had the part.
Don't, man.
The money's here. You just have to find a way to take it.
Why don't we start a business selling the dream?
Yo, I just got the word.
You're a scoop driver.
Adam? Yeah.
You can drive like 12 hours a day.
Oh, eres puertorriqueño. ¿Hablas español?
Arvidas is gonna kick us out if we don't cough it up soon.
Someone stole my identity.
Who the hell would want to be you?
Are you friends with Booster?
No, he's dating my roommate.
You're still mad at me, baby.
You're a little jealous.
No.
Have you ever considered something behind the camera?
Like what?
Well, I could do with an intern.
Adam? You're that Joel?
No.
Starting in high school, Adam got his love for acting from appearing in plays. From there, he worked on many student film projects, learning everything he could from them. Afterwards, he started working on his own projects from a TV pilot to a new feature film. So for today's Industry Insight, we're speaking with Adam Lopez. Hey guys, we're in the studio today with Adam Lopez, actor, director, and producer. Adam, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us today. So let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about your background.
So I started as an actor here in Orlando when I was 14. I grew up playing baseball.
Right.
And then I had auditioned for the school play and quickly realized that how much I enjoyed being on stage. So I quit baseball and started, I became a thespian. Doing the spring and fall shows.
Right, now did you start with theater?
Yeah, specifically theater.
Right.
Early on, I think in my sophomore year, I started doing voiceover work. And I got to see what it was like to make some money. But mostly, I guess, I enjoy being on stage.
Right, and now how did stage transition into film acting?
I went to community college afterwards. I didn't think that a career as an actor, specifically growing up in Orlando, for whatever reason, I just thought that wasn't a possibility.
Right.
So I just wanted to get a degree in something, and I realized how miserable I was doing anything else besides acting.
Yeah.
So I got headshots and started doing independent films here in Orlando, a lot of horror films and getting cut in half and pulling
We've
guts
all
out
been dismembered at some point or another.
Yeah. So that's and then I realized, okay, this is fun. And then because it is Orlando, there's a lot of learning and meeting other people. You learn about Full Sail and them doing all their 16mm films and 35mm films. At the time, they were still shooting on film. I'm not sure if the kids are doing that anymore, but doing that. UCF obviously has a film program, Valencia. So, I think there was a summer where I did 20 or 30 student films that just word got around between the different classmates.
Right.
That guy's down. He'll call Adam, he'll show up. And I wasn't getting paid. I loved it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I did a bunch of that for.
And not only that, it works up your resume. You start learning how to, be comfortable on set.
Yeah.
And the way that different people work. Now, what do you prefer, theater or film?
I mean, both of them have their perks. I think. I mean, theater's good for stamina building. Yeah. You're on stage for an hour and a half sometimes, depending on the size of the cast. It could be, you and another person for 30 minutes on stage, and it keeps you sharp.
Right, and if you mess up a line, you got to get through it.
Right.
You know, there's
You
no
know,
cut.
There's no cut.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously the opposite of that is film. You know, you mess up and you can do another take. And
But it's all here.
right, it's different. You're not playing towards the back row. And you could take a little bit more risk, I think.
Yeah.
In front of a camera, you know, you can explore a little bit more.
Right.
So I like them both.
Right. Now, are you glad you did theater first?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I mean, like I said, you learn to be big.
It's always easy to bring down
Yeah.
someone who's too big, right? And
But
then
I had a lot of bad habits in front of the camera, especially I look back on some of that early stuff that I did, and it's super big, you know.
Yeah.
And my performance it needs to be so much more intimate and tighter.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I guess as you age and get older and mature, you learn to take advantage of, or not take advantage, but trust
Right.
your scene partner.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, and it like you were saying, like it's something that as you go along, as you develop yourself as an actor, as a, you know, in the film industry, you develop that, you learn it, and even you know, you yourself, like if you're ever watching a television show, you can always tell that person that's like, oh, they're being too big when they're delivering their line. They're like, you need to tone it
They've
down a
done
little bit.
theater,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, yeah, you could tell. I'm working with some kids now, and you know they're in high school and first and second year of college, and you know they're theater kids.
Yeah.
Right.
So you know, trying to break some of those habits of
Trying to those
making
big,
it
yes,
big.
big gestures,
Yeah.
big
Hey,
gestures.
we're right here.
No, it's cool. Just tone it
interested
down.
in your eyes.
Right.
Right.
You know? But I love it. I mean, everybody has to grow and start somewhere, and I think theaters, especially in Orlando and Central Florida, I think, you know, there's a lot of local theater and
Lots
the
of
Fringe
it.
Festival, and there's a lot of opportunities. I think this is a great. I'm grateful, you know, that I got to grow up here, and then I got to take whatever I learned here, and I moved to Los Angeles, and I lived there for 10 years.
Right.
So it was like I put myself through training,
Right.
you know.
Now, what was that like for you? Because a lot of people do think about making that transition, and a lot of people do, going from, you know, here or wherever they're at to some place like Los Angeles.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I
Right.
feel like the 10 years that I was in Los Angeles, it was mostly a struggle because, yeah, I didn't know anybody, first of all. So, you know, the idea of something not working out for me,
Right.
and like going back home to mom and my mom's couch and being like, hey, crashing here couldn't pay rent.
Right.
You know, like that wasn't a thing for me. I had to make it work. So, you know, working 2 or 3 jobs, you know, going to acting school or taking acting classes, auditioning, hustling, workshopping. It's a lot. It's a fast city. But, you know, again, that prepared me for, I guess, filmmaking in a way, and just life. You know, I learned a lot about myself
Right.
being in Los Angeles.
That's cool.
Now, how did you transition from going into acting to actually like becoming a producer and getting into the filmmaker side of things?
As a necessity, you know, like I'm not the type of person that's gonna like sit around and wait for the phone to ring.
Right. We're very big advocates of that.
Yes,
Like,
we are.
Find
you
your
know,
path.
Yes, you are.
And it's like, you know, you meet other friends that are actors or, you know, budding filmmakers, and they're like, let's make a short film. And it's like, cool, I'm down. Like, what do you want me to do? And it's like, you know, do some Indiegogo fundraising, try to raise as much money as you can that way to help production, you know, the things that, you know, will increase the value of a project. I was just totally game to just, you know, immerse myself in it. And plus, like I said, going back to the growing up here and doing all the Full Sail stuff, you know, you learn
Yeah.
the language of film or being on set and what each person does on set and the importance. So you can, you know, as a producer, I feel like I know a little bit about what each department does.
Right.
And so I enjoy putting those pieces together.
And now you said that, you know, being an actor and being on all these sets that help you understand like a little bit of the filmmaking process. Now, has the filmmaking process made you a bit of a better person on set, a better actor?
For sure. Yeah. I think if you really understand what it takes to put a project together, you have a lot more empathy
100%.
and patience.
Right.
And as you know, as you go from project to project, you learn what to look for in the work ethic in a person, like who to hire, and like, oh, this guy's really trying to master this. And so you want to gravitate towards those filmmakers that are like mastering a specific thing. And I think that just takes time. You know,
Right.
I think you just need to be on set enough to to understand that.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Now let's talk about your TV pilot,
Yes.
Short Adam.
Short Adam. It was a real labor of love. So again, I was in Los Angeles, not waiting for the phone to ring. I had just finished a play in LA, and I was like, I'm gonna do a project every quarter, like, which was really
That's very
stupid
ambitious.
thing.
Very, very ambitious.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm gonna do a play, then I'm gonna direct this pilot, then I'm gonna do this short, and then you know that year turned into being 3 years of just trying to get through those projects. So Short Adam was just kind of like, let me exercise writing what I know. I don't consider myself a writer, but I was like, I know this this story, and I just kind of jumped in without a script, very naively. You know, like as a director, I'm like, I'm gonna direct it, I'm gonna produce it, and I'm gonna be in it, and might have bitten off more than I can chew. So we just kind of every weekend, or I would save some money, $1,000, you know, book a location, save some more money, and we just chipped away at it for 2 years, and thankfully, my cast and crew, you know, stuck with me throughout that. So it turned into Short Adam.
So you started with you have a TV pilot short. We also know that you worked on a feature as well, Noche Buena, correct?
I'm working on Noche Buena. We're in pre-production now. That's all Latino-led cast. So you know, we're really big, specifically with representation. You know, with the Latino community. So it's my producer, Glenn Elise Quesada. She's a Hispanic, Puerto Rican Dominican writer, and she wrote this beautiful story that takes place during Christmas. And essentially, she was looking at Christmas movies, and she was like, "Where's our Christmas movie?" I was like, "You're right. Where is our Christmas movie?"
That's very true.
We have a lot of Christmases, so you know,
For sure.
Christmas doesn't end until January, mid-January. So
right, and you know, like Noche Buena the night before, it's like, you know, you party hard, you have parandas, and like I never seen that on film, and when I read it, I just thought, man, I have to do this, you know. Or she asked, you know, would you be willing to direct this? And I was kind of like, whoa, yeah, absolutely. Like, you want me to do this?
Right.
So we're in pre-production now. Super pumped. We're shooting that here in Orlando.
That's fantastic. I love that, and the representation thing. I think, you know, we say that it's so important, but it really is. I mean, the Hispanic community, I can speak on ours particularly. Like, I'm more than just a maid, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm more than just a young mom. Like, there's certain things that we
stereotype us and box us in.
Yeah, right. And we can do a lot more than what, you know,
right,
is offered to us most of the time.
And you know, we're 18% of the box office. You know, we're responsible for that. So we should be represented at least in 18% of a film.
Right.
You know, and sometimes we're the mechanic or something, you know, or we're the thug. And I did those things too in Los Angeles.
Of course, yeah.
But you know, there's love stories that happen for us during Christmas too.
We have,
you know, and
so
you get to
more.
get a little slice of life. And with this, I'm hoping that, you know, people feel like, oh, that's what it's like to celebrate Christmas in that household.
Right. Even
you know?
like you said, like understanding the culture itself, because like, you know, it's funny because I always tell people, you know, to Hispanics, Christmas is actually celebrated. It's Christmas Eve is our Christmas. Yeah. Christmas morning is more of, you know, eating breakfast and just spending
opening
time with
presents,
the family.
Yeah, maybe you go see a movie.
Right. We're here in the U.S. It's like, you know, Christmas Day is the big celebration, where Christmas Eve is just going to sleep. Yeah. For us, it's Christmas Eve. That's where it's at. So.
And you know what's so exciting about that is also, I mean, the fact that you're doing this, right?
Yeah.
But also that when we tend to see things on TV or film that has those things, we like light up, you know, in a way that we're like, oh my God, you know, somebody said that, or, you know, my grandmother says that, and we tend to forget that, you know, we haven't been represented.
Right.
So you doing something like this, it's a very cool
I'm trying to
thing.
think of the movie. We don't talk about Bruno. What was the name of the movie? I'm blanking.
Encanto?
Encanto.
Yeah.
And there's a viral video that floats around of this little girl that she's like looking at the screen, and she's like telling her mom, "It's me. It's me," and like that's so like, oh my God,
it is,
that's like that's so exciting, you know, to see that, and I'm hoping we can, you know, create a similar thing with Noche Buena.
Exactly. On top of the fact that, you know, it's cool just to see other cultures singing these Encanto songs and wanting to learn more about it, because now they don't feel as I don't know, maybe awkward sometimes, you know, trying to
to fit in.
understand and
Yeah.
connect with
Connect with
us.
us,
Yeah. So it's great to see everyone enjoy,
Yeah.
you know, our culture and any culture like that. So
100%.
I'm looking forward to that.
Thank
So if we want to find more information about you and your projects and what you have going on, where can we find that?
Okay. I'm on Facebook. It's Adam Lopez, and then on Instagram, it's at Adam Lopez Dreams.
Well, Adam, thank you for joining us on the show today. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you guys for having me. I think it's really cool that you guys have you spotlight artists in the community. I think it's important, and I'm just really happy to be here.
Of course, thank you for that. That's our goal, is to just showcase all the talent that we have here, because we have a plethora of talent that we think sometimes goes under the radar. So we're here to.
Yeah, I think, you know,
shine
and all of
that
us, there's a story to tell, and we're all storytellers. So, you know, the more it gets out there, the better it is.
Exactly. So guys, check them out. Noche Buena, I can't wait to see it.
Cool.
And thank you again.
Thanks.
If you would like to be a guest, have something to promote, or have your film featured on the show, email us at icstv@yahoo.com or visit our website at indiecinemashowcase.com.
Watch past episodes on YouTube, Rumble, Roku, and Apple Plus by searching for Indie Cinema Showcase. And finally, follow us on our socials, Facebook at ICSTV and on Instagram and Twitter at ICSTV Show.
Welcome back. Now it's time for our segment we like to call On Location with ICS. In this episode, we revisit Studio La Orlando to check out their newer facility and speak with Justine Renee about what new sets they offer filmmakers.
Guys, I am here with Justine Renee, co-owner of Studio La Orlando. Justine, I am just so excited to be here again. Now, the difference is you guys have expanded. So for people to get a good grasp at how much you expanded, what was the square footage of your last location?
It was actually a little under 1,000 square feet.
And what about this one?
I believe it's a little over 4,000 square feet.
So that's major.
Yeah.
That's major. So tell me, what has gone into this space? How'd you come up with this?
So I actually have been in the service industry since I was 19.
Right.
I'm 34 now, so gives you a pretty good idea of how long I've been in that industry. So we really thought about just the detail, from the cash register to the liquor bottles, the lights behind them, the fruit trays, the straws, just like every little detail went into building this bar.
Right, and I mean, is this like one of your favorite? You said you have like a background in it, so could this possibly be one of your favorite?
Oh, this
sets?
is by far my favorite set.
Yeah. All right, so to give people some perspective, this is the main entrance to Studio La, and you have a set right here. Now this, I mean, this could be kind of like a creepy little. I see the TV. Is that supposed to be on?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure. So what is this area here?
This is our 1970s kind of creepy hotel set. It can also be interchangeable. You can turn it into a bedroom. You can turn it, depending on your set decorator.
Right.
You can decorate it 90s, early 2000s, even modern times as well. This is our classroom. Student in there right now, it looks like.
Oh, there is a student studying. Yeah. And last time we were in this room, it was much smaller.
Yeah.
All right, and we go from a classroom.
Police station.
Yeah.
Yeah. This also
Nice.
what used to be 2 walls in our old space, and now we've grown it into 4 walls. So you have all 4 shots.
Nice. Very cool. Oh, and I see you've got some pictures here. The details, guys. It's the details. You guys got it. Wow. Okay, so I have to ask you again. Where did you find this stuff? Because this is very specific.
Yeah, it is specific, and it's real. This is a real hospital bed. This we found on Facebook Marketplace. That was from a real doctor's office who went out of business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And some of like these, like the gauze and the applicators, the tongue, those bottles were all from a doctor's office. So it's real. So you get that real like production quality. This is real.
And this is where it's at, because this is most certainly something you can't just walk into a hospital and say, hey, can I borrow a room?
No, not at all. It's actually, I think it's like not illegal per se, but like you literally can't do it at all. You have to build your own set.
Yeah, so this is definitely it right here.
And we are currently still building our bodega.
I love this. This makes
our
me
New
feel
York
like
bodega.
it's from New York.
Yes.
I mean, I'd be tempted. Do you ever have you had anybody shoot in this specific area yet?
Yeah, we've had a couple people shoot in here so far.
Does anybody get a little, you know,
like wanna
eat
the stuff? Yeah.
I figured. You know, worst case scenario, you guys need a snack. You got some
right here. Snacks for sale.
Very, very good. And how did you come up with this idea? This is very specific, and this is really not something you see.
No, because it's another one of those things where it is hard to go into a grocery store guerrilla style and be like, hold on, let's get our stuff and camera. Like, you can't bring a crew into a grocery store or even a bodega because they're open 24/7. And if you do, they're probably still going to be operating, which again, with sound and all that stuff, is a little bit hard to operate a set.
I love this. I mean.
Oh, yes, this is our courtroom.
Very nice. And this, of course, is another one that would be so hard to get into if you needed something like a court.
Guilty!
All right, so Justine, for anybody wanting some information, where can they go?
They can go to studiolotorlando.com. You can also find us on social media, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram as well.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to seeing whatever work comes out of here, whatever work you do. So thank you, Justine.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Great space.
For our final segment, we travel to the beautiful Enzion Theater, where film wizard Tim Anderson is going to let us know which films we should see before we die. Take it away, Tim.
Thanks, everybody. So, yes, I'm Tim Anderson. I am programming coordinator here at the beautiful Enzion Theater in Maitland, Florida. And these are some films that I think you need to see before you die, or in this case, before you return from the dead. So, I want to do something horror related, and the last time we did this, we talked a little bit about the Evil Dead movies, and I want to go back to that kind of beautiful DIY aesthetic of not really knowing what you're going to do, but doing it anyway. And then in the case of Night of the Living Dead, 1968, directed by George Romero, changing the entire face of film ever going forward. I feel like these are movies that are so culturally ubiquitous that people feel like they've watched the film even though they've never seen the film, or have completely forgotten about the movie because they saw it so long ago and their base memory of it is the dead come back to life. They slowly shuffle across the Pennsylvania countryside, trapping a ragtag group of unknown people together in a house. Terror ensues. What I think is really interesting about this movie is to recognize where it was born from and also how incredibly subversive it was to release it in theaters. As independent filmmakers, we're always striving to break new ground. And there's this sort of old adage that there are no new stories to be told under the sun, that there are only X number of plots that can exist in the world that they told you back in the day in English 101. And what Romero has done with this movie is, this is a guy and his friends who started shooting industrial films, which is sort of like training videos, and then was able to kind of cobble together the money to make this very lean, very mean movie that utilizes the characters of zombies, which had existed in literature for decades, but in an entirely new way. You know, Night of the Living Dead is always talked about as being sort of the first zombie movie, even though it's not the first zombie movie, but it is the first movie that sort of creates what we consider today to be the, you know, platonic ideal of what a zombie is. Why I think the movie is important to watch is it was groundbreaking in 1968. The Hays Code had kind of disintegrated, and the Motion Picture Association of America had not yet kind of figured out how to rate movies. What you had going on around the country outside of Hollywood and New York is all of these very small, independent, regional film scenes. So you might be making movies in Austin, Texas, or you might be making movies in Miami, Florida, which had a great one, or you might be making movies outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the idea of those movies is that they were never really going to get anywhere else but in your general vicinity. So this is a movie, it's shot for the drive-in theaters of the surrounding Pittsburgh areas at the time, and it just terrifies people. They're absolutely wrecked and don't know how to handle themselves. And what happens is then now the word is getting out and the movie is getting taken out into the world. And this movie caused such a stink that Congress was considering passing laws to stop regional independent filmmaking from even existing because this movie was so offensive to them. So if you haven't seen it a really long time, or if you've never seen it, I think you should go back and watch this movie and think about how it plays, because the film itself does not have much of a driving storyline. It's very slowly paced in a way that I think people have forgotten, or people that have seen the subsequent movies or the remakes or the extended versions, or have been watching Walking Dead for like the 30,000 seasons that it's been on, are forgetting where it was kind of born and where it came from. Beautiful cinematography, really incredibly well done. A movie that's ending is very bleak, which was also very much of this late 1960s counterculture filmmaking vibe, most of which was being pushed out of UCLA and USC at the time, but to sort of take like a Pittsburgh, a very industrial, very semi-rural, slash urban environment that exists there, these kind of steel towns, and then look at sort of what a group of people working inside of that environment was able to kind of push forward into the cultural zeitgeist. Like I said, incredible movie. I feel like a lot of you are going to be like, oh, I've totally seen Night of the Living Dead, but really think about when was the last time you saw it, and what do you really remember about that film? And if you haven't seen it, then you're going to be like, but I already know everything about it. And I promise you that this movie will change your expectations. So check it out. It's always fun to play a scary movie. And this is definitely one of the most scary movies from when I saw it the first time as a little child. I was probably far too young to be watching Night of the Living Dead. So I hope you guys get a chance to see it. And thanks again for having me. Nando, Christina, back to you.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of ICS. We want to thank Adam Lopez for sitting down with us, Justine Renee from Studio Lot Orlando, and Tim Anderson for those great movie suggestions.
We hope you learned something new, saw something that you love, or got inspired to get off your couch and go make a movie of your own. Who knows? It might be good enough for us to screen on the next Indie Cinema Showcase.
Don't forget to follow us on our socials, Facebook at ICS TV, Instagram at ICS TV Show, and on YouTube, Rumble, Roku, and Apple Plus by looking up Indie Cinema Showcase.
And if you want a chance to have your work, event, convention, or film festival featured on ICS, send us an email at icstv@yahoo.com.
Until then, the set is closed, and as they say in the movie business, that's a wrap.
See you next time.